Bowman.
Here.
Chris Mikulski. Here. Eric Schrader is excused. Chris Buckmaster's here. And Terry Boyer. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Victoria, would you lead us?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item D, approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
The only change on the agenda that I'm going to move is the item 2, vote for closed session, will be moved to the, well, actually will be removed because we're just going to do it at the end of the meeting instead. Any other comments on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of the agenda as proposed, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving on to item 3, no, item 4, project reports. Dan, I thought we were done with you.
Almost. Close. We're pretty well wrapped up. There's a few items on order that are trickling in. We'll be wrapping up here. We'll be coordinating with the facility guys to get in off-hour stuff. Wrap a few things up. Buildings are 99% complete, occupied, and working. And last week of school, or first week of school, yes, last week went pretty smooth. Building operations, I think. If there's a video.
Yes, well, and we want to thank you, Dan, for your leadership. You did a fantastic job over the last year that we spent with these. Thank you very much. And we do have a video, so.
And I want, while we're queuing it up, I will echo what Kelly had to say. You're a pleasure to work with.
Yeah, I got it.
And your organization was, but you individually were as well. So thank you very much. I've had the pleasure of working with other companies, and to say that they were always as responsive as you guys have been. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a great group of planners and core team that we could work with to make decisions and get the job going. It's been a pleasure on our end too.
So here's, this is Muskego Lakes, and we have one very similar to this for Mill Valley, and they're both on the west side. Well,
Ready?
yeah, this looks like.
That is Mill Valley.
Yeah.
Is it the wrong one?
Yeah, well, this is Mill Valley. Looking at the Facebook here.
All right, sorry about that.
But if it's a problem,
Get it back.
they're very similar.
Dan actually hasn't seen Mill Valley yet, so.
You haven't seen this one?
Here, show this one.
Well, then show it, yeah, they're very similar.
Okay. That worked out well. Okay, here we go.
It was meant to be.
They're both on Facebook.
So at the beginning of the year, we showed that to all of the teachers and staff members in the buildings. We went to each of the buildings to welcome everybody back and show that video along with a welcome back staff members video, which is also on the website. So, and we dressed up like construction people and did the MNSD today.
No, that video.
No, yeah. Actually, Kari posted that on Facebook, so if you want to see it, it's there. It's on Facebook.
All right, good to know.
Kristen and I are friends, so.
One question, and I'm not sure if your marketing tracks this at all. Is there any way of finding out how many Muskego residents work on these buildings?
Do kind of contractors and dollars pretty easily, but at this point in the end of the job, I think hard to.
I wasn't sure if they tracked any of that. It would just be neat feedback to give the community of, you know, okay, these are finished buildings and here's how many local, meaning Muskego jobs got worked on.
Like your pro was part of that.
Yeah.
Painters were part of that.
With a few contractors based here in town. You know, we had some contractors commit to percentages. I could go back and just find out what those total are.
If you have any, I mean, don't put yourself on it, but there's some numbers that are available. I'd be interested in having that and sharing it, more so sharing it with other people. As I was watching the video, I saw like 3 people at least with just a quick glance that lived in town here. It's just kind of a nice thing to be able to go back to the community, share.
So Mill Valley's open house is on September 17th, so next Monday, from 5 to 7. No ribbon cutting, but come when you can, between 5 and 7. And there is a ribbon cutting for the pool before their first home meet on the 20th, next Thursday. So we're planning that tomorrow. Believe it'll be 4 o'clock, but we'll let you know. Anything else, Jeremiah? Is there anything with the additional projects?
Just before we cut Dan loose, I just did a quick search, and since February of last year, we've corresponded over 1,250 times via email. And just thank you for your responsiveness. We've stayed in contact from the time we started working together and endlessly. Just the cooperation, the ideas, and the thoughtfulness on how we could save money and do things more efficiently have been great. And I remember when we started pouring the foundations of Muskego Lakes, asking you asking somebody, how do we know where to start this thing? And I learned that prior to the project ever even breaking ground, like while we were in boardrooms concocting what we were gonna do, like he was putting together the plans of where to start. So he held like everything in his head, and I still say to this day, you're one of the smartest guys I've ever met. So there you go. Thank you. Other projects, the pool is being swam in right now. We're having a little bit of trouble balancing the water. We've had some issues with alkalinity, whether that's due to the city water coming in or the plaster that's inside the pool. Still to be determined, but we'll know more tonight after the girls get wrapped up with practice. Scoreboard is getting hooked up right now at the stadium, so hopefully by the end of the week on Thursday, we're doing training, so it has to be working by Thursday. The fencing around the stadium went up today, and it's still going to be continuing through the rest of the week. And that's it.
Well, thank you very much, Dan.
Thank
you again, Dan.
Thank you.
All right.
Why is it up there?
It's teasing me. It kind of shows part of the screen. Item 5, consent agenda. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda? Got that, Clerk?
I motioned, he seconded. Sorry, Linda.
Anything consent agenda that has separate questions or needs separate consideration from anyone?
Can we put both B and C for separate consideration?
Sure.
I just want to abstain since I was involved in doing this.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then I get a separate motion to approve items 5B and 5C.
So.
Second.
Any Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining?
Abstain. President, you?
Yes, thank you.
And that's fine, it's all your thing, but for future reference, articles of work do not require you to be part of the group.
My
to-
understanding was just, okay.
Yeah, it does not, you can be, and you can make motions to approve, you can even make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
So,
I was unaware of that, thank you.
Moving on to student representation, is Colin here? No? All right. Moving on to item 7, public forum. This is your opportunity to bring any of your concerns, questions to the school board. Anyone here that'd like to do so?
I would like to.
Step up to the microphone, state your name, address, and then we cannot, Mr. Grumbles, we cannot respond back to you because it's not an agenda item, but if there's something.
I would
and
like
then
to
we'll
fill
just-
this in. Jennifer Gira, address West 206, South 10493, Deborah Park, Muskego. And Dr. Jen Gira, I'm here tonight to express some concerns that I have with online postings and offensive communication from the president of the school board. I would like to also pose the idea that you made, Rick Kowalski, claiming that mental health is not a public school's concern, and that to recommend that you all have a conversation so that all the standards and values that the district demonstrated while I was a student at Muskego are still upheld for the children they know. Out of respect for your time, you pass this by me. I'm just giving you a brief copy of some of the postings online of the abhorrent comments and insolent demeanor that I think Rick Kowalski demonstrated, as I don't think they're still available online to you. But I'd like to simply state that I feel like it's extremely disappointing for a leader in this district to communicate with concerned parents and community members in such an inappropriate and distasteful manner. While the comments have been deleted or are no longer available, the impact of those comments it still speaks volumes on your character and on the integrity of the school board that you are representing. I'd also like to take a quick moment to plant a little seed in your minds that mental health is just as relevant as physical health in the well-being of children in this district. It encompasses more than just emotional or psychological, it includes social well-being as well. It was also stated a couple times by Rick Kowalski that it is not the district's job to teach social or emotional skills, and that the development of these skills are solely the parent's responsibility. I've been incredibly blessed.
Are you paraphrasing? Otherwise I'm gonna cut you off if you are, because you are.
Paraphrasing?
I didn't know.
I don't have time to, I mean,
All right.
I thought you weren't gonna talk back to me, but
well,
I'm just trying to express my concerns.
As a chair here, part of the rules are you cannot talk about specific employees. I'm letting you go because you're talking about me. But if you're gonna do it, quote it correctly.
I passed out a thing, I don't know if there's enough.
You're not talking about that right now.
I'm referring
All
to
right,
it.
we're done.
Excuse me?
You're done.
I'm done
It's
for,
against the rules. So if you wanna bring.
I won't, I'll take back the paraphrasing. I'll give you photocopy proof and I'll share it with you guys. I won't paraphrase it for you.
All right, don't paraphrase.
Okay.
Otherwise I'm gonna end this.
I'm not? All right. So what I'm saying is that I have been incredibly blessed to have parents who invested in my education and moral development since day one, and I know that's not the case for all students. Being a child in this district, K through 8, we had standards and we had morals that were held in the school district by teachers. So to say that it's not responsible or not the responsibility of the teachers or the staff, I don't think is fair. Teachers spend 8 hours a day with their students, and they teach them more than math, facts, and grammar. They teach them to raise their hand before speaking. They teach them to wait in line, take their turns, and they teach them that they have to make good choices or they'll be held accountable for their poor choices. So I think it's a big problem to have this whole idea that mental health, the emotional and social skills, not being part of the school district. I think that's a huge problem. So I just want to leave you with that idea that mental health is relevant in all school districts, whether it's MPS or Muskego, whether it's high school, elementary school, every kid. It's not just, teaching them social skills is not substance abuse or depression. It's everything that makes these kids who they are and what we're trying to raise them to be. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Lori Carroll, West 206, South 10493, Deborah Court. I just also want to comment that if you look at the Wisconsin Model of Early Learning Standards, there also is a strand that talks about social and emotional development. The strand on Facebook was talking about 4-year-old kindergarten, and I'm educated. I have a master's degree, and I actually did my thesis on treating kids in various environments. So I've done tons of research, and I know one viewpoint is treating kids that one comment was made that their home is their natural environment, but you can't replicate social skills, emotional skills, and the huge amount of language that goes into early childhood learning. So I just want to comment that that should really be brought to the forefront, that is part of the curriculum for 4K and 5K. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, moving on. Item 8, Superintendent's Report, Dr. Thompson.
Okay, I have the pleasure to bring up the Girl Scouts and recognizing them. And actually, Jeremiah, if you want to, you work closely with them, if you want to start us off with a little background.
Yeah, so I'd say over 6 months ago we began working together and actually meeting here during a board meeting and discussing some ideas on how to commission a project at Muskego Lakes that would honor some of the work that had been done at some of the prior schools. And so the girls came forward with the idea of a Gaga Ball Pit and some benches, and I think one of them may share what a Gaga Ball Pit is for all of us that don't know. But they organized all of the material handling, the construction, and worked with our team to facilitate all that work happening. And since then, I will say I've stopped through, and it's like one of the biggest hits on the playground, and I hear late to noon chatter that they would like one as well, so pass that along to the Boy Scouts maybe.
So girls, if you want to come on up. And then the two that said that they'd like to be willing to share a little bit about your project, then you can use the microphone here. You say your name and go ahead and share with us.
So we just had a debate if it was an octagon or a hexagon because I wasn't positive, but it is an octagon. My name's Aaliyah Tusshouse, and Gaga Ball Pit, I actually went to a camp that had it, and I thought it was really fun, and so I thought it would be a good idea to bring to our school, and I thought it would be popular. So yeah, it's an octagon, and basically how you play is you step in the pit, and you hit it with your hands, and if it hits your feet, or like knees and below, then you are out, and so that is how it works. And yeah.
Is it just one-on-one?
No, you can have numerous people in it. Yeah, you can have like, I mean, yeah, as many as you can possibly fit without feeling extremely uncomfortable.
And we're close to extremely uncomfortable.
And
I was here to talk about fundraising. Hi, I'm Jane Ryan. Our fundraising, we had to raise $4,000, which sounds like not a lot, but it's actually very hard to raise that much because like with Girl Scouts, we had like the cookie sale to begin us with. We also had the nut sale, which was just like part of it, and that was maybe $100 at most, or probably a little bit more, I'm not sure. Like maybe 200, somewhere around there. And then we had to do a lot more fundraising, like selling candy bars at a bowling alley, and then like, what else did we do?
We did Pinewood Derby, we sold candy bars too.
Pinewood Derby there as well, and we also sold candy bars and soda. We had a spaghetti dinner at Bay Lane where we like had a bunch of people come on for and like eat spaghetti.
And then we sold candy bars, and we had a bake sale there too.
We had a bake sale.
Good job. I think that's pretty much.
And we also did babysitting.
Oh, yeah.
We had present wrapping there, but no one showed up for
That was kind of sad, but it still worked.
I think it was pretty good.
well, thank you for the background. If you want to join your friends here, we'll give you each a certificate.
So we have a certificate from the school board, and I'm going to read the first one. The rest of the same system needs to, so I'll read on this first. It As a certificate of appreciation, the Muskego, Norway School Board presents a certificate of grateful recognition of Aaliyah Tahaus for her service as a Troop 4733 Girl Scout to the Muskego, Norway community in the construction of a Gaga Ball Pit on the new Muskego Lakes Middle School property. This project required diligence and commitment during months of planning, coordination, and manual labor to benefit her fellow Muskego Lakes Middle School students. The Muskego, Norway School Board commends Aaliyah for her contribution to provide opportunity for the students to learn and develop skills in the sport of Gaga Ball. Thank you for your contributions to this project and best wishes in your future education and career endeavors. And it's signed and dated this date by the board officers. Congratulations. Aaliyah. We have one for Ava. Brianne. Jane. Julia. Haley. No. Right. Michaela. And Victoria.
Yes, we'll take a picture real quick. So if you want to come over this
Come over
way.
here, we'll kind of form a.
Face your families. Are they sore? Are you sore? Yeah. I'd like to go closer. Would you like that? What are we doing? Levels are good? You want to come in? Victoria,
I'll get out of your way
squeeze the
one
front
time.
too?
There it is.
Okay, that works. Okay, are you okay? Yeah?
All right, on three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Stay where you are. Perfect.
Anyone else?
Are we good?
We're here. All right.
All right, thanks.
Congratulations.
I think we're done.
Oh, okay, good. I didn't get a chance to check, but it was done.
Hello again.
It must be the private. Yeah. So you know, I was able to get to it off my US site. Just now I can get to it off my. Okay. Yeah, good to know.
That, I guess it's fine. No, yours isn't like.
Right now I have, so it's getting there slowly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is.
So the next item is just that the WASB has the Regional 11 meeting coming up in October. So if you are interested in attending, please let Dar know and she can sign you up. And then the last item in the superintendent's report is the contribution to the profession. So take a peek at some of the conferences that we'll be attending and speaking at. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Moving on to other reports. I wasn't going to have a report until someone came up here and made accusations about me. Just a quick update on that. I monitor the Muskego News website. People ask questions, I try to answer them on there. people say things that are incorrect, I need to try to correct them so they don't turn into something. So the question about 4K, why we don't have it in our buildings, and I clarified on there accurately that the only reason that we have 4K is why the board initially approved it was because we get more state aid than it would cost us. It's a revenue source essentially. Question then came on to different degrees of special ed and monitoring. At one point, the question had to do with, I can't remember exactly what it was, but morals or something, and it's not all on there because we had a lot of conversations back and forth. And my response to her at that time was essentially morals come from home, school's here to reinforce what the community standards are. So never said we don't teach them, we are teaching. And I was very clear, I said it like 4 or 5 times this lady. So it's unfortunate she's not here, but, and she went about it this way. But, and I also made it very clear that I was speaking for myself, not the Muskego Norway School Board. So we have 7 very opinionated, intelligent, and articulate people here to give information. So, sorry. Moving on to other reports. Any other board member reports?
I have a hard time getting them. I'll just have to read these.
Item 10, resolution action items, 2018-19 preliminary budget, that we probably would do best.
No.
Yeah.
I make copies
You have,
of all the budget stuff.
oh, I just need a copy of the, I gotta call it off to the,
Oh, well, the motion is to approve the preliminary, 2018-19 preliminary budget in text.
Do you have it?
Presented.
yeah, so why can't I get up
Did you refresh?
there? I did.
And then it took a while.
There we go, yeah. All right.
That would be great. That's really fast reading.
All right.
We just go with Julia's.
So, motion to approve the 2018-19 preliminary budget and tax levy as presented.
So moved.
A second.
Now we just need to.
Okay, so a packet of information is coming around for you, and Jeff, if you have an extra one, I'm gonna steal one.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so we brought back a couple of items for you to review. The first is a document that you've been seeing quite a bit. This document, the preliminary budget, and I'm using flat enrollment right now just to set the budget because we have to use something to move forward with, so we're gonna go with that. What you'll see here is our last, our current year, which is the 2019, which is kind of in blue. And this is the budget that we're bringing forward for the general fund. You will notice that we are looking at a $717,000 reduction of fund balance, and that's in order to complete the projects that we have set out to work on and complete. To talk a little bit more about that, we'll look at this document, which we started many moons ago. And this is what this document is. It's an update which shows the budget for each of our additional master planning projects. So it has all of the different budgets for each of the projects that we're working on, starting with the pool. Each of the colored sections is a different fiscal year. And then within that fiscal year, we show how much we're using of budget funds, how much we're using of fund balance, donations, and so on and so forth to complete the project. So at the last meeting, we were talking about how much fund balance we were going to have to use in the pool project. We had talked about overall, it was about 2.1 million. I think that was one of the things you guys had brought up. That was, when we presented the information, to you knowing that we did have the opportunity to raise funds through property sale, and if we were to raise funds through property sale and sell in the same year and utilize those funds to support the projects, that we would have zero impact to the tax levy. But also knew that if the sales didn't happen, we did have the fund balance to support the projects. And so we're in a situation where the property sales did not happen at this point, but we do have the fund balance to support it, and so that's how we'll be completing the projects. I don't know how much detail you want to go in on this document, but I'd be happy to go in as much as you want. Again,
If you just look at this year, which is, you have the blue year, which was last year, and then the pink year, which was 17-18. You'll see that the pool project, we actually spent a lot more because the pool project went faster and we encumbered a lot more construction costs for the year than we anticipated. So our fund balance use was $2.8 million for these projects, and then we also bought the house, which was $257,000. Then we also started to purchase the scoreboard, and until we get those funds back over the next 5 years, we have to fund that money essentially to put the scoreboard in. So that brings us to our total fund balance usage for this current year of just over $3 million. Questions on that?
Was the sound system something that was in the board itself?
The sound system is part of the board.
Okay,
Yep.
so the 301, 500, 300.
Yeah, that's just the cost of the scoreboard itself.
Okay.
Yeah, overall, the scoreboard
just
and sound
says
system.
on
Yeah,
top.
unfortunately, I think it cut off on the top row. It
Oh,
should say
okay.
scoreboard and sound system.
I was gonna say, that's a really good sound system.
Yeah.
Neighbors are gonna love us.
We're hoping.
Then we can get laser pointed and
That's what serious.
Oh, fine,
They
yeah.
were doing this.
Yeah, the bathrooms are concession stand bathrooms too, so,
Okay.
yeah, the top levels cannot.
No, this is just general operations at this point.
Okay, so the 3.81% reduction is going to be offset by that debt repayment somewhere?
Yes. Yep.
Is that in your package?
Yes, on the next page, actually, we can go right into this one. So this is the tax levy document. So basically, you'll see that we would have essentially, because we had to book another $800,000 in the pool project, our tax levy did shift slightly for this upcoming year. So we will need to use $110,000 of Fund 39 fund balance to help manage the debt levy to a 0.02% decrease. That $110,000 again comes from our Fund 39 fund balance. We have just over $500,000 sitting in there, and we can only use that money to repay that, so it's an opportunity for us to use those funds to pay off some of our Fund 39 debt without having to raise the levy to do so.
Is that get replenished, or how does that?
No, once we use it, it's gone, right.
Can you maybe explain how we got that extra money?
Well, it's, I guess, over the years, as you can, from a system perspective, you can levy as much as you want in your Fund 39 debt fund, as long as you know you're going to use it to pay down whatever debt you have existing. So in years, and I can't speak to the previous years, like when that started, but I know in previous years you were able to levy more if you had the opportunity to do so to support paying off debt. And as money accumulates, it does just sit there unless you're using it to pay principal. You can also refinance the bonds, and so when you refinance bonds, you know, you have extra money that may be available. If you levy for the full amount, you refinance, then you don't actually need the full amount to pay principal. So it can accumulate that way. But DPI does regulate that fund, and you can only use it to pay off the asset. So
I'm sorry if you covered this
That's
in
okay.
the previous meeting, but I know we're not completely done with all our projects, but if contingency funds are not used, how does that?
So for our overall big referendum project, if contingency funds aren't used, you have to remember, we took out a $43.18 million bond. The cost of the project was $45 million. The difference between those two, we were using fund balance to support. So if contingency funds are not used, essentially it's us not having to use our fund balance.
Yeah, okay.
However, if we were, say it was a normal situation where you're just borrowing them just for their own education,
Sure.
what happens to the extra money? I think was one of the things you were trying to figure out also. So how would you?
Do you just not take all that?
Well, the bond's been taken out already.
So if you take out the bond and you don't spend the whole bond, you have to use those funds to either repay off debt or defease, or you can defease debt, yeah. But you have to use it for that. You couldn't then move it to your general fund because it was purposely give it to you from the taxpayers for the specific purpose of that project.
And if we have a contingency surplus at the end,
Yep.
you anticipate to be less than what we're going to use in fund balance?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we are using fund balance for the project.
So the reason I asked for the question on that, the other option that you could, if we weren't using fund balance, it was all borrowed money, and you have money left at the end, the two choices are essentially pay off debt with it, or use that money on that project. So you can look back at the project and see what stuff you want to add, like at the high school. And when we did that, things were added on at the end, and that's it.
Yep.
So instead of spending on TVs or?
It's kind of what's point.
Okay, got it.
That's along the lines of why I'm asking questions.
Yeah, and we'll bring back, as the project starts to close out, we still have, I believe, 2 large payments left to C.G. Schmidt that we'll be paying out, and then we have a lot of the moving expenses coming in. So as we start to close that project out, you'll be able to see more and more where we're at with using fund balance. We also talked about when we invested, so when we got the $43 million, we took it all at once and we invested it over the course of the last 2 years. So we'll essentially have, right now, we still have some money invested, so we are anticipating about $599,000 of interest earnings that are not allocated to anything at this point, so that would be another more money. And actually, the interest earnings do not have to be used on the project or to repay debt. We can use those as we see fit.
Isn't there a limit on how much you can earn on?
There is, but we've earned so much. The interest rates are so low that we're not close.
I know it used to be a concern.
How much
It used to
percentage
be
is again?
about 599,000, just under 600,000. Yeah, we were hoping for 550. Rates got a little bit better, so we did a little bit more reinvesting as time went on.
Nice job.
Try to stretch it as much as possible. Okay, so essentially, with this budget, we'll have a tax levy reduction. We'll also ask the board then, when you approve your Fund 39 tax levy, it will be the $110,000 of fund balance that we'll be using to pay that down. And then the last document is our super fund document that DPI requires us to review. But what this is a breakout of all of our funds. It shows our audited 2016-17 numbers, our unaudited 17-18, and then our preliminary budget for 18-19. So again, this is really the detail. The first page and a half is the detail of the $54 million and the $57 million that you see on this document in function format. So this is the areas of the school's budget the money is spent. We also separate out, if you go to the back, so it would be the second page, toward the bottom is our special education fund. So you'll see here, this is where we separate out all of our expenses for special education. Revenues and expenses. And then if you go to the very last page, you'll see at the top our debt service fund. And this is our referendum and non-referendum debt. So this is where we're actually paying off all of our bonds that we have outstanding. And that indebtedness end of year that you see at the bottom where it's on the right-hand column, 46.275 million, that's our debt outstanding that we still will be paying off for the course of the next 20 years. Below that is our capital projects fund. Again, this is the fund that we use to pay for capital projects. It's also Fund 46 where we're starting to put money away. And it's also where our interest earnings will stay. So if you look at the capital projects, the beginning fund balance, and then you'll see ending fund balance is $756,000. I can separate that out at some point, but that's going to be the estimated $599,000 of interest earnings, plus the money we have in Fund 46 that we're starting to build a capital fund for.
Which is the capital fund?
I'm sorry, the very last page.
In the back.
Yep. So the capital projects, it's like the second box.
Where's the 7?
Yep, the second line down on the right-hand side, you see 4.9 million.
Right.
And right underneath that is 756,000.
Oh, the second one. Okay.
It's a squishy Excel document.
I thought it was 1, it's really a 7.
Yeah. So we do anticipate expending all referendum dollars, completing the project throughout the course of the 18-19 year. And then that's the money that we'll have to be able to utilize for future projects. And then we have our food service fund, which we, as you can see there, have a high fund balance. We still have about $579,000 sitting in there. So again, that's money that we can use to reinvest in our program for equipment and different things that we may need in the schools that have not had their kitchens upgraded. And then our community, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, does that also include like the structural stuff within the cafeterias and stuff, like the tables? And
It can, yes.
It can.
Yes, as long as they're only used for that purpose.
Right.
You know what
Which
I mean?
you couldn't do the cafeteria, you couldn't do tables, but you can do, because cafeterias are used for the tables.
For me, I think there's a little bit of flexibility, like, I think in that case, you could do like a 50-50, like a general operations
Okay.
and a fund, I'd have to double check, because Fund 80 got goofy with that.
I was gonna
so-
say, I thought it was similar to Fund 80.
I haven't bought tables in a while, so.
I know, well, 'cause the only reason why I asked is when we were at Country Meadows, we had a fundraise for tables.
Mhm.
So I was trying to figure out how. that
Yeah, this
would
is
go.
very, like, it's ovens, it's dishwashers,
Okay.
it's some of the bigger things, yeah, the mechanicals. And then the last fund is our community service fund, again, that's gone away, however, we still hold open swim and other things like that that we pay lifeguards and our program director out of, so it's a very small amount, but we're just using fund balance and we're spending that down until we have that. So, oh, and a follow-up question, I'm sorry. We did, our equalized values are looking at 4.3% increase. State average is about 4%. So we won't really see a huge swing in our state one way or another because we're about on average for what the state is seeing.
So, one of the things you used in here was flat enrollment.
Yes.
I know we don't work for credit accounts, but we know when kids are in school right now, it will change a little, I understand, but where are we flat? Don't you hate it when
1
you-
minute, please.
Yeah, if you give us a minute, I can
Okay.
run a report. No
Is-
problem.
Piggybacking off that, is there a reason we're flat or we're not open enrollment, or do we not have enough room for open enrollment?
We do in January of the, previous year, we do look at the seats, and then we come back in summer, so we did add some seats during the summer. But the enrollment that relates to, the school funding is resident enrollment. So we get money for open enrollment, but that's kind of outside.
Okay, so
This is a resident enrollment.
And actually, Brett, if you look on the first page of this Excel document, maybe a third of the way down, you'll see the 340 account on the left-hand side, and then on the right, you'll see
Yep.
just over $1 million. That's our open enrollment revenue.
Okay, I did not realize that was
I want to see if it says payment for services here, it's like.
We're paying for our students to go to their
Yeah,
schools.
it's kind of like it's weird, but yeah.
but it is under revenues.
And all I wanna know is if we're not drastically off.
Overall, we're about 25 students down, but that's all students, so that, I can't factor open enrollment versus,
No, and I
Yeah.
don't care about that so
Yeah.
much, so
And
25
that's
students is that somewhat significant though, 25 students or not, for dollar amount that's $4 million?
but it's over a 3-year
Yeah, that's right.
period.
3
So
or
for
4.
a rolling average for us, it's not as much of an impact.
Okay. All right,
And that was a couple.
that was my main concern.
Yeah, we won't see a huge swing. We may have to shift some more Fund 39 dollars in for tax levy, depending on how the numbers turn out, but I don't see anything more than 20,000.
Okay. That's,
It just seemed odd that we were flat.
Well, we have to use,
But she
We
ran
have to use
like
something.
-50
Yeah.
and over 50.
Yeah, 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have this laid out like through Excel where it's adding and subtracting? Like, to be honest with you, when I look at this, I'm like, I want a plus and a minus before each number, so I know, is it taking away or giving, like.
for which document?
For this one.
the actual
Like,
budget.
yeah, like, it's it's your world, not mine, so
Sure.
don't change it, because you have to work off this document. But it's just, like, I have to constantly go back and forth and try to figure out, like, is this a positive
And that's the
to our account?
You mean as far as numbers, what we're budgeting for that account going up or down? Is that what you- from the
Yeah.
previous year?
Yeah, like, just, yeah.
But
Because like, I see the grants, and I'm like, okay, we don't, that's not a fund for, it's not a expense for us, right, grants? We just
Well, it
get-
is, so when I budget for a grant, I have to budget for the revenue coming in, but we pay all of our expenses and then I get reimbursed.
Oh.
So you'll see it on both sides
Okay,
factored in.
that's why I'm confused, because I'm thinking that's not an expense, but it is.
it is.
Grants are, yes,
Yeah.
yep. Yep, there are very few things that we usually get money in for that we don't have to submit for reimbursement, or that don't come from another school district or like a CISA for services.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm misunderstanding, so from year to year on these, so we have the 16, 17 followed by 17, 18 right next, so you can see if that number's gone up or down. Is that what you're kind of looking for? or-
Right. No, it's like when I'm looking at, when you're seeing sources and then you're seeing revenue, it's just, to me, it's, but it's like your document, and I know how you, it's flowing for you, it's just not flowing for
Actually, I hate this
That's
document,
just-
this is TPI's document.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
This doesn't
Well,
flow up
somebody
for me
needs
at
to
all.
touch it.
Yeah, so what you'll see in the annual meeting, and you can go back and look at old documents in the annual meeting, documents that we share with the board and the community.
Yeah, I bet
And
those,
maybe
yeah.
there, yeah, maybe
Those
there's some,
seem to be fine
right,
for
and
me.
so.
So this
Yeah.
will essentially turn into graphs and pie charts and things that are a little bit more easy to.
Yeah.
And,
The dollar bill,
yeah,
The dollar bill,
Yeah.
oh, that's
We-
another thing that just.
we scrapped that one. We did that.
Are we taking it out this year?
Sure, that's all.
No, wait a minute, let's not do that.
We'll
We
give
did
it one
like
more
the
year.
dollar bill.
A pie chart that just looks like a dollar bill.
So I guess what I was getting at, why I was drilling into what you're looking for, because you're in a unique situation that if you're not as familiar with this, and we want documents that the public can understand,
Right,
you know?
right.
And so if you're not understanding, that's what I was trying to figure out, what we
Yeah,
can
why
change.
can't I?
Obviously, we can't change this one, but it does help.
This one's,
Yeah, and really, what it's really trying to show is the breakout of how we look at our fund balance. So
right.
at the top of every box is our starting and ending fund balance, and that's
That I
really the
got,
important
that,
number. And so everything underneath it that's listed as a source or revenue is all money coming in, and then the expenses is all money coming out, and then it ties back up to this front page to show you what the balance is at the end of the year. And it does that for
Explain
each
that to
section.
people, like, when they're reading it.
Show the dollar bill.
You have to
And
have,
the meeting booklet.
you have to have a disclosure over the top, this is what this means, you know what I mean?
I think when you get maybe when you get the annual meeting
Have
packet,
you
you'll,
seen one of our packets?
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
they're pretty,
I mean, they're
pretty good.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, they have like a thing that.
So that's the public document,
Right.
that's what shared.
Right, right.
This is, you know,
So, any questions? Sure.
No, I know, I was just trying to remember what it was. I wanted to keep going up.
Okay.
It's not myself.
Yeah.
I still would like to see some sort of community thing that we could possibly use, you know.
To use the community
Yeah.
funds.
Something that we could do as a group. Trees to get that.
Oh, that was it, thank you.
Right, then.
So with the new pool,
Yes.
we're gonna have more people using that public swim, at least initially, because people are very interested in what that pool looks like, they wanna use it. Are we staffed okay for that, at least the first month or two?
Yeah, we've been talking with the pool director, just about that, and we assist with posting for lifeguards and things like that. So I know that he kind of anticipates what is coming.
Josh is in another class this semester, and I know it was mentioned in that class.
Yeah,
But
so
I'm-
they are recruiting for lifeguards for as much as possible. We wouldn't be in a situation where we want to close the pool, obviously, to open swim.
Right, no, and I just know, just based on, our favorite little Facebook page, that I got in trouble tonight. There's a lot of questions about this, and people are looking forward to be able to take their kids there and swim. And it makes new and shiny, people are coming more than they have been past, so, while the lifeguard might be used to 1 to 0 people being there, it's very easy to be, 10 to 20 families.
I think we post them on weekend. So they're on, I think they're posted on the sheets anywhere around.
Did you have students that graduated last year that have that like parent certificate?
Do you know any of these students?
Yes, my son.
And we get them home another weekend.
Yeah.
Keep him at school. It's the best thing for him.
They're full there. They don't have any like parent talks, but I'd like them to use that.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful program.
Yeah, they can, oh, Shelley.
So that was, thank you, that was my.
It would be.
Yeah, something to think about. The only way that we can use those funds is if we offer a program that everybody in the community would have access to and not just our students here.
I mean, it just would be kind of fun. I was approached by this guy who was I don't know, some sort of walker. He does, I don't know, he does this fast walking thing. And he said, well, I would love to like teach people how to do this and, have it with, and he's like, the track would be awesome and stuff. So I'm just trying to think in my head what we could put out there for the community to use and do and learn and whatever, and see if that's something.
And those are all things that actually also could be going to Parks and Rec, and they can use our facilities through it. We made a conscious, we've been going off blank gas to take over Park and Rec in past years. We just don't want to do that, it's not our mission, but especially since there is an opportunity through that avenue. But yeah, if we find something that. All right, so if no one else has any questions, could I all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. And B, special education van purchase.
Motion to approve the special education department purchase of a multi-passenger van at an approximate cost of $29,000 for special education program.
So,
Second.
All right, so this was brought up last week, or last meeting, sorry. This is need for another van coming out of the special ed budget. Any specific questions?
It's less than what was anticipated. Less than.
It's not used, it's this 2019.
Correct, there's a shortage of vans.
Oh, yeah.
So I asked if they were running 2018s because I thought I could get them down even a little more because
Yeah.
of the closed session.
So this is not replacing the current van, this is in addition, because we do need
Adding.
added.
Correct.
And is the sync Bluetooth a necessity, is that something that you need, or is it just coming with the vehicle?
I didn't ask for it. I asked him to put together the proposal and it was included, but I don't know that we would
It's
use
pretty
that.
standard on, is this a Ford?
It's a Ford.
It's
Correct.
pretty standard on almost every Ford right now. Beyond that, from a safety standpoint, I would rather if the phone rings that they answer it that way if they get to it. So,
What about the no cruise control added?
We did not add cruise control because it wasn't a necessary feature.
Just saying, seems odd, yeah, I would have thought a car with Bluetooth would have cruise control.
Yeah.
E-truck people.
And the service fee is for a long period of time, or is that a year thing, or?
I'm sorry.
Is the service fee for the cost of the car, or is the service fee to up, like the maintenance and stuff of the vehicle?
It's for the cost of the car. If we have general basic maintenance, Steve Brick, who is a licensed mechanic in our district, will assist us and have students assist him, which is a great opportunity for both our students, and then it's a cost savings for us. But there are other times when it's, if it's something like brakes or something like that, then we would take it to a service station.
But I'm thinking you can answer that question, the $299 service fee, that's just a dealer processing fee, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, it's not a. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving on to item NC, electronic scores table.
Motion to approve digital scores table in an amount not to exceed $52,339.
So moved.
Second.
So last week we had asked Ryan came back with some options at least for additional revenue. You want to explain what you came back with, or actually, let's put it this way. Come up here and explain what you came with.
Sure. So the initial 12 who came on board with us when everyone said we couldn't do this and took a chance with our district to help us get the beautiful scoreboard that you see right outside this door. We decided to include them in both indoor and outdoor facilities if you make the choice to purchase the scorers table. And then we would come back with the option for static signage, which would be the lowest dollar amount in the major package that we offer the community, which is $2,500. That would be the outdoor facilities. If you want to do indoor facilities only, obviously probably less of a population, but more events. So kind of thought a fair number would be working with the Daktronics sports marketing professionals. A fair number would be $1,500 to get on that inside board. If you want to do both indoor and outdoor, it would cost you $4,000 a year, and it would be a similar 5-year commitment to all our previous donors, and it would give us a platform on, and I think as Eric said, if he's got a friend who really wants to get in that gym and get on the court, he can do so. We're not saying no to anybody, but here's the structures in which we're doing it, so we are honoring those initial 12 that came out of the woodwork when a lot of people said good luck, and they got us going. So I think it's a fair plan. I think it leaves a door open for us to always continue to generate revenue, and then continue to look at the future and see what other opportunities come along down the road.
And in talking about this, the way that this was designed to, it doesn't say that in the future we can't look at other cheaper options also, but it gives us time to get the board, get it going, give people the opportunity to get inside, but then also give us time to plan for what that could look like in the future.
So, just a clarification, so you had mentioned static advertising for the $2,500 and $1,500 options. Are you talking like this, like a banner or a sign up at the stadium or in the gymnasium, or are you talking about as part of this, either scoreboard or the scores table on that?
Yeah, it's all digital. It's
okay, so it's still going to be all
yep,
digital.
All digital.
Okay, that's what it was. Any other questions?
Well, have you seen this board somewhere?
Okay, so if you, can you get the board?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a picture.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just curious that so you've never seen it anywhere else, but.
Yeah, if you turn on the Milwaukee Bucks,
They have this.
that where all the players check in to go into the game, that is the exact same technologies. Ours is just obviously a little bit smaller. Theirs is, I don't know, 40 feet long and runs the whole length of the NBA court, which is bigger than our basketball court. But same technology, same quality. Just like our video board out here is no different than the video boards in Camp Randall.
I'm just worried about the size. Really, because I mean, our gym unfortunately isn't the size that, like, as big as we'd like it to be, of course. I'm just curious how much space there will be with that signage there.
Yeah, and we went into the gym with our basketball coaches in particular, because they're probably the ones that are mostly affected with all the substituting and the in and the out of the continuous play with kids checking in. And we measured it, and we asked them, and we checked the coaches' boxes, and we checked the benches and everything else, and they had no issues with it, and they approved. And they felt like it wouldn't affect game operations whatsoever. And Eric made the suggestion last time that we were in here that we take the west bleachers and maybe take them in a row or two just to create some more space between the court and the table, which can easily be done, and I think is fair.
So I'm curious about the financing. How many advertisers what would be the maximum advertisers we could have on the indoor board?
Really, as many as you want. I mean, it cycles and it changes, and I mean, we got so many events that roll through that facility throughout, specifically the fall and the winter, that we don't have a capped limit to say no. Now, if we were doing commercials and things, there's only so much space and time within games, and that's where you saw the different levels when we got to the the stadium scoreboard, we could only sell so many of those to ensure that we get the exposure rates and everything that they signed up for through their advertising and marketing funding through their corporations.
And do we have any idea, I know it's, we haven't done any studies, I'm sure, but do we have any idea how many businesses are interested at this point in time?
I don't have any concrete numbers for you. Huh?
I got one.
You got one. And there'll be more, and you know,
That's really not a fair question.
I mean, I know, it's like, that's why I was kind of fumbling around with it, it's,
No, it's
I'm
not,
concerned with, you know,
the price point is very attractive to a lot of small businesses, I'll just say that.
And I think that's
You know,
what the
if
fairness
I'm a
point
one-person thing and I'm gonna do it, and it's cheap.
Is there now on the Warrior One website, you know, that your athletic website and stuff, is there some sort of, because I haven't been on the front page, is there some sort of icon where if they are interested in advertising or want to do, is there something, a place where businesses can go in order to access? Do we have that yet?
we can put it on there. That's easy for us to do.
Yeah.
I'm always calling out the girl. Do you know if we have a link on that website for businesses to go to for advertising or the sign?
No, we have not started that yet.
This is very much in its infancy right now.
It's very much in its infancy, and also with each of these agreements, it's not just somebody calling and saying, I want to do this. We now have a sponsorship agreement, so we have to go through the legal process of getting a document so that we have something to go off of to get the money from them. So we just developed those for the first 12. And so it's just a little bit more of a process. I know that we're going to be working with SWAT to do something similar for fundraising efforts, but we have to really structure it, and right now it's structured this way, but not yet open to.
I'm just saying, not even so much that they're in on it, but just how to get a hold of you, to get a hold of, you know, like an avenue for people to go to so that they, you know, can get in the process.
That's a great idea.
And this will be something that, you know, as a system, they're gonna come back with at one point, alternative revenue sources. You know, we're just, right now, we're not set up for it right now. Brian did a great job working with Electronics to get to where we're at. I think we mentioned it last time, we just don't, you know, his job is to be the activities coordinator, not.
Right, that's what I'm saying, there's 7 of
Warrior
us.
Nations is
Where we
another
could say-
area that we're looking at.
Right.
Utilizing and having campaigns. So which campaign do you want to contribute to for a donation?
Right.
And then also, are you interested in sponsorships? And
Right.
so that's, we're trying to
I
really
think
leverage that.
Right, I think the biggest is just the exposure, right? And, I mean, technology is cheap because it doesn't cost nothing to put something on a website. So, yeah, I mean,
We just have to
You get
create the
developed it now,
process.
that's what there is.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, I do want to design it, children's and elsewhere, and it's, I mean, it's just a matter of.
We just want to make sure it's organized, know
Right.
that's going
Legal, I
to run
mean,
smoothly.
I get that.
So is there a one main person that's gonna be in charge of?
Someday.
Okay. I mean, that's just thinking, what's the word, okay.
Yeah, there will be somebody likely within our office.
Because I'm sure everyone's gonna be knocking on my door and I want to know.
So going back, my concern with this is that we're committing $50,000, and unlike the big scoreboard, we don't have the commitments in place.
We're not asking for commitments, we actually have this money budgeted this year, because we were looking to purchase a scoreboard anyway, and we had $50,000 in the budget to do that, and so, because we raised enough money to support the outdoor, we have $50,000 still in the budget to pay for this if we want to.
And have the groups that are committed to that funding, are they okay with us buying the indoor court as well? Because if we don't, my understanding is if we don't use the full funding, they kind of don't.
So the funding from the 12 sponsors covers the cost of the outdoor board.
Right.
They are guaranteed that. They were also told that if we did get an indoor board, we would likely be able to create advertising there. So that funding's covered, it's just the outdoor.
I would say
Okay.
more advertising.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially we're just doing the same thing that we're doing with the outdoor board, with the indoor.
Except we're funding it from the school's budget.
Isn't that what we did with some of the outdoor board as well?
No.
Yes, no, we did because we allocated that money. We originally said we were gonna spend $50,000 on it. We didn't have to because they were more successful in their fundraising campaign. So now that fundraising that we're gonna commit out there from the district funds, we want to move here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
That's kind of where I thought we had it. Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Cool. When are we gonna have it?
I'll make a call on my way home and we'll get it going.
On your way home, stop at some businesses.
All right, I can do that too. All right.
No, don't. We want your wife to be happy with us too.
Yeah, it's all good. Thank you, appreciate it. There you go.
All right, moving on to item 10D, gifts, grants, and bequests.
Motion to accept with thanks gifts as noted below. School supplies drive. The Muskego Health and Wellness Center coordinated a school supply drive during the month of August. The Muskego businesses listed below acted as collection points for community donations of school supplies for families in need. Rosamond True Value Hardware, Glow 10, Summit Credit Union, Preferred Fitness, Piggly Wiggly, and San Lorio Coffee House. Community members were very generous and donated a large variety of school supplies valued at $500 that will benefit Muskego Norway School students of families in need. Baylane Elementary School, Stacy Shaw, ACE Corporate Support, school supplies valued at $207, and an anonymous donor, school supplies valued at $75.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Moving on to discussion item 11E, 2018-19 budget. Anything new since 5 minutes ago?
Sure good.
That's good.
Any questions since 5 minutes ago? Hearing none, moving on to 11B, snow plowing contract. Jeremiah, I assume this is you.
Yes, so each year it snows outside and we need to remove that said snow. Our maintenance crew actually does all of the sidewalks around the facilities and leading up to them. And then all of the lots we bid out each year. So we bid out last year for a 1-year contract because we were in the middle of expanding hard surfaces. So now that we're settled in, we put it out for a 2-year contract. The bid tab is attached. We invited Merritt, who was working for us last year, Weber Landscaping and Winter Services. And each one of those have a plow price per event, per place, or a salt season for each place. And then a total cost if it were to need to be plowed and salted. About 75% of all of our events are just salting, so anytime that it's even a little wet, we have somebody come salt. So with that, our recommendation is to stay with using Merritt. They're a local contractor, and one thing we appreciated beyond our prior services was that they actually bill us after every event, which is helpful because prior to that we were tracking how many inches we were getting, how many times people were out, and we'd get a bill up to 60 days later and we're looking back trying to add everything up and make sure it worked. So that's really helpful to us. So it was very easy to communicate with them. They're just over in the business park here. Winter Services was also competitive in their bids, but they're a national company that uses subcontractors. So establishing relationships wouldn't be as easy. And some of the reference checks weren't all that glowing for Winter Services. But with that, we're glad that they still put in for their bid. So with that, our recommendation coming back will be Merritt Asphalt.
I hesitate with the bigger companies too because.
I thought you were hesitating with Merritt. I'm like,
No. With the winter services, because stuff like that is just not
and their business
personable and stuff.
and their business model is problematic for a place like us. Just, I mean, it's a good business model, but it's for places like us where you want to have a long-term established relationship. You know, they subcontract it out, it doesn't work, they just bring in some other, you know, it's a guy with a pickup truck and a plow essentially, a little more farther than that, but.
And sometimes their bids are a little off because they're counteracting other bids that they have, and they can bid low because of the other. If it's a big, if it's a you're saying it's a multi-company, it's a big.
Well, it's like an overarching, and they sub everything out, so if you, like you said, if you got a plow truck, you can work for them.
I would hone in on Jeremiah's reference comments. I think that
Yes.
would probably, yeah.
Couple more. Okay.
Yeah, and there, you know,
I'm fine with her, I'm just, I agree with your assessment of the other group.
I mean, I would almost, I'll take it one step further when it comes to using, we can use local businesses and they're within, like, say, 10% of something. I mean, it almost should be a board policy that we just allow you, that, I mean, obviously some of this has got to be approval, but, you know, it's smart to use local businesses when they're essentially in the ballpark.
It was nice last, a couple weeks ago, we had some patching to do over in the high school lots, and they just came and gave us the materials. So that doesn't always happen, but having those relationships is nice, and seeing it reciprocate is good too.
And that means that they get a bid coming up. So, just bring it back for approval. Any other questions on this? We got item 12, information follow-up. Anyone require any follow-up information for the next board meeting? Hearing none, can I get a vote to go into closed session?
So moved.
Actually, can you read the?
A vote for closed session. Vote for closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 sub 1 sub C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of specific employees over which the board has jurisdiction, specifically dates evaluation.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll be in closed session in 5 minutes. We will be coming out of closed session only to reconvene to adjourn. We will not be coming back on the broadcast. Everyone have a good night.
Have a great night.